Now at 5 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, a 62-year-old man is in trouble with the law, facing drug charges. Plus, some colleges in Maryland are making changes as we approach the first anniversary of the October 7th massacre in Israel. And some travelers are seeing service disruptions as hotel workers remain on strike.
Rain in parts of the Crossroads, primarily along the coast and the eastern parts of the Crossroads area. More rain expected, yes. And when does the cool air arrive? We'll tell you that coming up in the forecast.
Plus, a teen refuses to pull over for police and ends up crashing into a truck. It didn't take long for officers to figure out why. You're watching 25 News now at 5. Good afternoon and thanks for being with us. I'm Shauna Curry. The Van Vleck School District is offering support after two teenagers were killed in a two-vehicle accident. One of the teens, 17-year-old Haley Matchett, was a current student. The other, 19-year-old Kylie Fulmer, was a recent graduate. The girls were killed in a two-vehicle wreck on Texas 35 at 6th Street in Van Vleck early Monday morning. The driver of the other vehicle involved took off from the scene and was later found at a hospital in Brazoria County trying to get a ride. A 25-year-old man has been sentenced to life in prison for capital murder. Joey Gonzalez of El Campo pled guilty to that charge, admitting that he killed 80-year-old Emil Korenik as part of a home invasion robbery in April of 2022 in El Campo. Gonzalez becomes eligible for parole after serving 30 years in prison. Also accused in the murder is 21-year-old Francisco Hernandez. His capital murder trial is set for later this month, and he is currently being held in the Wharton County Jail in lieu of $1 million bond. A 46-year-old Victoria man is facing 5 charges. Joe Flores was arrested on Sunday. The charges against him include aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, resisting arrest, and assault of a public servant. He is in the Victoria County Jail in lieu of $130,500 bond. And 62-year-old Christopher Mazurek of Houston has been arrested in Victoria. Mazurek is facing 5 charges, including manufacture and delivery of a controlled substance. He's in the Victoria County Jail on $81,500 bond. And a 33-year-old Victoria man is facing 5 charges after being arrested by police. Abel Sanchez is charged with criminal trespass and obstruction or retaliation. He is being held on $51,350,000 bond. The Victoria City Council is holding its first of 2 public hearings on their new proposed budget and tax rate. The first public hearing is underway now. It started at 5 o'clock at council chambers. The council is proposing a total budget of $193.9 million with a proposed tax rate of 0.4707 cents per $100 of valuation. This rate will effectively raise taxes on a $100,000 home by $10. The second public hearing is scheduled for September 10th. Authorities have charged a 19-year-old man with human smuggling after 6 migrants were found in his SUV. This all started with troopers in El Paso trying to pull over Ruben Palma on a traffic violation. Police say he refused to stop, and while trying to get away, he ran a red light, crashing into a pickup truck. One of the 6 migrants had minor injuries. This afternoon, they are all in Border Patrol custody. Now, Palma is from Mexico and is also facing charges of evading police. The driver of the pickup truck that was hit was not hurt. Parts of Southern California could see temperatures up to 115 degrees this week. Coachella Valley and the San Diego County deserts could also see the high temperature climb as high as 118 degrees. That's about 10 to 15 degrees above average for this time of year. More than 30 million people around the country are under heat alerts beginning on Wednesday. But we're actually feeling a little break from this heat. Let's get a first look at your first warn storm team forecast. Meteorologist Trey Mining is in for Chief Meteorologist Mac Perez. Trey.
Exactly. Thank you, Shauna. We have cloud cover over the region, keeping our temperatures down. It's quite pleasant on the outside today, temperature-wise. A bit humid, though, and still some rain in the area, especially from about Palacios down to near Port O'Connor, south of Matagorda Bay, and up toward Bay City, kind of wrapping around north of Victoria as we go through the rest of the time period. Because we have saturated soils beginning to move into the area now and pretty much take place, and more rain could cause flooding, so there's a flood watch in effect through Wednesday evening for Victoria, Calhoun, and counties in the south and west. What about that? The rain chances and the cooler air headed our way. We'll take a look at that later on in the full forecast. Shauna?
All right, thanks a lot, Trey. Well, the former aide to New York's governor was taken into custody today, accused of espionage. Linda Sun, who served as deputy chief of staff, is charged with acting as an undisclosed agent of the Chinese government. Prosecutors say the 41-year-old blocked Taiwanese government officials from having access to top New York officials at the request of China. A spokesperson for the governor said that Sun was terminated last year for misconduct. Sun's husband was also arrested, and he's facing charges including money laundering and conspiracy. On the first anniversary of the October 7th massacre in Israel, several Maryland public universities will not allow gatherings that are not university sponsored. The University of Maryland College Park president says the decision came after receiving backlash from Jewish student organizations over initially granting an event request from two school groups that were supporting Palestinians killed in the Israeli-Hamas war. The university will host a day of dialogue on October 7th, and no other groups will host gatherings on campus that day. Non-university sponsored events can take place before and after the anniversary. A strike is affecting hotels across the country, and the union is threatening to add locations in more cities. This walkout includes more than 10,000 Hilton, Marriott, and Hyatt employees. The affected hotels across the country are open, but some guests have complained about reduced services. Unite Here is the union that represents these striking workers. The union says the chains still have some pandemic-era cuts in place. And in a statement, Hyatt says that it looks forward to fair contract negotiations. Hilton says it's also committed to reaching a deal with the union. Marriott did not immediately return a request for comment. The federal government has awarded $521 million to build out EV charging stations and enhance infrastructure in 21 states. So this brings us to our viewer poll this afternoon. Is the U.S. prepared for a complete transition to electric vehicles in the next 10 years? Yes or no? So far, 93% of you feel that we are not ready to make that transition in the next 10 years. But we want to hear from you. Come to our website, crossroadstoday.com/vote to participate. And we'll take a look at what those numbers look like coming up on 25 News Now at 6. Well, some students are returning to the classroom this year with existing or new bans on electronic devices, as well as some clothing. More and more school districts are making students lock their smartphones and other electronic devices in magnetic pouches or their lockers. Additional wardrobe bans have also included open-toed slide sandals and even Crocs or foam clogs. In El Paso, a middle school banned all black outfits this year because of an association with mental health issues such as depression. Sweatshirts with hoods and pockets may be banned to reduce opportunities for hiding, using, and distributing prohibited items. A school district in Alabama even removed mirrors from the girls' restrooms to keep them from recording videos for social media. Many boys' restrooms never had mirrors. For more on today's news stories, come to crossroadstoday.com. And there you can stay up to date. And you can also learn about CFL's Band of the Week contest. That starts this week, so definitely want to get in on that. And remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell to be alerted when we upload new content. Well, stay with us. Straight ahead on 25 News Now at 5. Surveillance video helped police track down a suspect accused of shooting 4 people on a transit train. Also ahead, Pope Francis arrives in Indonesia after a 13-hour flight from Rome. We'll have more on his latest travel. 4 people were killed in a shooting on a Chicago transit train. Authorities say the victims were sleeping when they were shot. CTA workers discovered the bodies early Monday morning as the inbound train arrived at its final stop in Forest Park. 3 of the victims were found in one train car. The 4th was in a separate car. Police say the suspect was taken into custody at a nearby train station and still had the gun on him. Well, Pope Francis has arrived in Indonesia on his longest trip as pontiff. Francis will first visit the papal ambassador to Indonesia, then meet with refugees from the area. The visit is part of the Pope's latest Asia tour. The 12-day tour includes visits to Papua New Guinea, East Timor, and Singapore. The Pope is expected to travel roughly 20,000 miles, the longest of his travels since his 2013 election. When it comes to maintaining a healthy weight, how much you eat is just as important as what you eat, but it's also so easy to consume too much. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither gets tips on how to make sure that we're eating the proper food portions for each meal.
Whether you're eating out or at home, a portion of food is how much you choose to eat at one time.
The problem is that it is way too easy to overeat, especially with the large portions dished up at restaurants.
How much a person should eat varies based on factors like a person's age, their current weight and height, their metabolism, their sex, and how active they are. But a key part of eating healthy is consuming balanced portions, and there's a tool to help you get the serving size right at every meal, says Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
It's simply your hand. For protein like chicken or fish, aim for a portion the size of your palm. For carbs like rice or pasta, a clenched fist is going to be a good measure. A cupped hand equals a half cup of serving of food, so for vegetables, go for 2 cupped hands. Fats like cheese or peanut butter, they should be around the size of your thumb. That's about a tablespoon.
And if you struggle with overeating, Gupta says there's also a way to make it seem like you're eating more than you actually do.
Use smaller plates and bowls. That can actually trick your mind into thinking that you're eating more than you are, helping you feel satisfied with less.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson has released a new memoir. Titled Lovely One, Jackson uses the book to describe her journey to becoming the first Black woman to serve as a Supreme Court justice. Jackson writes that President Joe Biden's call in early 2022 took her from a life of relative obscurity to the national spotlight. She describes how she has balanced her law career with modern motherhood along the way, juggling a demanding workload with caring for her family, including a daughter who was diagnosed at age 11 with mild autism spectrum disorder. Jackson was Biden's first and only nominee to the High Court. Well, the city of Victoria is accepting entries for Tejas Fest activities such as the Bikes, Trikes, and Power Wheels car show, a cornhole tournament, margarita contest, and tamale eating contest. Come to our website, crossroadstoday.com, to find out more on how you can enter.
And cloudy skies throughout the day, still hanging on. Temperature is currently 87 degrees on the outside. Still feels like 96 when you add in the humidity factor in and a little bit of wind out there. Rain chances still in our forecast, yes. And then eventually some cooler fall-like air headed our way. We've got it all coming up in your forecast. Good afternoon, everyone. Trey Mining here, and the rainfall still in the Crossroads area. Pretty good thunderstorm, pretty strong one, moving toward Port O'Connor as we speak, and maybe getting near Seadrift as well, southern parts of Calhoun County. A little bit of light rain toward Palacios. That was the remnants of storms earlier up there near Wharton, Ocampo, and back to Karnes City, back down to near Corpus Christi. That's the current situation there concerning the rainfall. And with the rains we've had over the last several days and more anticipated, the ground is becoming saturated somewhat, and any more rainfall could cause flooding. So a flood watch has been issued for Victoria County, Calhoun County, and counties to the south and west for any additional rainfall that could fall and cause some localized flooding, so be aware of that. Speaking of that, let's take a look at the anticipated rainfall coming up through your day on your Tuesday into your Wednesday. As we see along the coast, especially, that's when the biggest rainfall amounts will probably be, anywhere from 1 inch to 4 inches, depending on where you are, kind of hit and miss. As you go inland from Victoria northward, the amounts begin to slack off a little bit, less than an inch more than likely, kind of depends on where you are, instead of sitting up in those bands around the low pressure area in the Gulf of Mexico. So kind of keep that in mind, kind of hit and miss. You may get a whole lot of rain or you may miss it altogether, but the chance is still there for a majority of the region. Northerly winds, well, kind of easterly winds, actually around the low pressure area to our south, keeping the heat index values in the 90s as opposed to the 100-degree readings we've been seeing in the last several days, well, earlier in the week, I should say, especially last week. And this is still going to continue with northerly winds coming in, keeping it mostly on the cooler side with the cloud cover anticipated. So the heat index value is not really a big issue. Thankful for that with the cloud cover as well. Looking at the big picture here, we see the circulation center of the Gulf of Mexico. We've been watching this the last several days, kind of wandering around the northwestern Gulf, still continuing to bring in that tropical moisture. Warm waters out here, so there's some chance of development even though it's close to the coast. We'll keep watching it, of course. I don't think it's going to really develop anything too big or anything that really would be overly concerned about. But we'll keep the rain chances in place. And that's all going to be moving away as the front comes down from the north, kind of pushes it out in the Gulf of Mexico toward the end of the week and brings us some cooler air headed our way. I think we'll be happy to have that. Let's take a look at the forecast here. The low pressure area kind of wandering around the lower Texas coast. We're on the right-hand side of that, so we keep the rain in. That's the weather side of the system, so we keep the rain chances in. That's why we have the flash flood watch in effect. And then here comes the front down coming up by Thursday, moving into central Texas and down in our region coming up by late Thursday into your Friday, with the rainfall chances still along ahead of the frontal zone. Once it pushes on through, the northerly winds will take over, pushes all to the east, and we get a nice weekend headed our way, but have to get to that point until then. Looking at the rainfall chances still continuing for most of the Crossroads region through your day on Tuesday, which is today, until your day tomorrow. Likely along the coast, working its way inland on your morning time on your Wednesday, kind of like today, so keep those umbrellas handy. And be watchful for some ponding on some roads in some parts of the area due to the heavy rainfall. And Cuero, well, starting off in the 70s tomorrow morning. Rain chances likely throughout the day, highs in the 80s. Port Lavaca starting in the morning time, thunderstorm chances with highs in the 80s there as well. And then for your day in Victoria, about the same as today, cloudy skies. Temperatures reduced because of the rainfall. 80s for the high and rain chances throughout the day here and there. And take a look at this right here. Rain chances right on through your day Thursday to Friday. And look at this, 60s for lows. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Coming up for the weekend with plentiful sunshine. I think we need that. Until then, watch weather developments for some possible heavy rainfall from time to time, especially in the afternoon. Let's take a look at this right here. This is the QR code. Get your smartphone, scan the code you see right there. They take you to a web page. You can download our app, news, weather, and sports at your fingertips. Very easy, convenient, free of charge to be connected with us. Back to you, Shauna.
All right, thanks a lot, Trey. Looking forward to that sunshine this weekend. Well, coming up next on 25 News Now at 5, we'll take a look at your stocks. Plus, a viral TikTok trend is encouraging people to commit what amounts to check fraud, and it's all on video. Stocks fall sharply to start September on worries about the economy. The Dow down 626 points, the S&P 500 down 119 points, and the Nasdaq down 577 points. Oil is down $3.17, closing at $70.38 per barrel. Videos posted to the app TikTok show people getting so-called free cash from Chase ATMs. They do it by depositing checks made out to themselves for large sums of money. The person then withdraws as much as they can without exceeding that amount, leading them to believe that they've tricked the system. Well, Chase says that this glitch is actually a form of criminal check fraud. It centers on a common banking practice that allows check depositors to have access to a portion of their total funds before the check actually clears. The bank is warning people not to try this. When it comes to bank glitches, it's not your money, they say, and when the bank figures it out, they're going to want it back. Well, a federal judge has ruled former President Donald Trump and his campaign must stop using the Isaac Hayes song, "Hold On, I'm Coming." The decision comes after Hayes' estate sought an emergency injunction to stop the Trump campaign from using the song at campaign events. It alleges the campaign does not have approval, but attorneys for the Republican National Committee and the Trump campaign claim that the Hayes estate is not the license holder for the song. While they haven't sued, Beyonce, Bruce Springsteen, Celine Dion, Prince's estate, and Foo Fighters have publicly complained and/or disavowed Trump using their music. Isaac Hayes died in 2008 after suffering a stroke at the age of 65. Well, stay with us. We'll take one last look at your forecast when we come back. Plus, get ready to go nuts on Wednesday. We'll explain. And here's a look at what's coming up on World News Tonight, right after 25 News Now at 5.
This week, it's the final sprint to the ABC News presidential debate. So who has the edge going in? How will this debate shape the race? For all the twists and turns, watch World News Tonight with David Muir, America's most watched newscast.
Experience our streaming service, Crossroads Today Plus. You can stream our daily newscasts and much more using your connected TV. Just download Crossroads Today Plus on your Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, or Android TV. Just simply search Crossroads Today Plus. Wednesday is National Macadamia Nut Day. Mark the day by trying a new recipe involving macadamia nuts. You can bake them into a batch of cookies or try them on a salad. You can also add macadamia creamer or syrup in your coffee, or just have a handful of the nuts for a snack. But don't forget to post photos of your creations with the hashtag Macadamia Nut Day. And some fun facts: macadamia nut trees were discovered in Australian rainforests about 1,000 years ago. They were named after Scottish-Australian chemist John Macadam in the 1800s. Now South Africa, Australia, and the U.S. are leading producers. One word of caution though, if you have a dog, do not let your dog near macadamia nuts.
Good to know.
So,
Good to
yes,
know.
I did not know that. I knew about chocolate, did not
For
know
sure,
about
for
macadamia
sure.
nuts. So, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe bake some cookies. That sounds really yummy.
Sounds really good. Those are fantastic. I had the honor of eating some macadamia nuts in Hawaii one time.
Oh, I bet those were.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Good
those were
memory,
real
good
good.
memory. And we're dealing with heavy rain potentially around here over the next couple of days. So don't let your guard down, because the flash flood watch is in effect today through your day tomorrow. But looking down the road, after we get through the rain, chances through your day Thursday into Friday, look at the temperatures over the weekend in the 80s for highs and lows in the 60s. That's what I'm talking about. A little bit cooler air and drier air too. Hang on, we'll get there. In the meantime, watch weather developments just in case for heavy rain potentially in and around the region.
All right. Possible flooding from this. I know San Antonio had some this morning.
Could be in some of the heavier storms, yes.
Okay, so if you're seeing
Be
a lot of
weather aware.
rain, just be careful. Don't drive through any standing water.
That's right. Turn around, don't drown.
All right. Well, thank you for being with us. We hope to see you back here for 25 News Now at 6. World News Tonight with David Muir is up next.